Yeah, right.
Oh Punjabi bole na, oh Punjabi bole na, te main English vich adda si. Oh meri look te mardi si, te main ode lak te marda si. Oh meri look te mardi si, te main ode lak te marda si. Oh Punjabi bole na, te main English vich adda si. Oh meri look te mardi si, te main ode lak te marda si.
That was JANIBOI with his mix Ride With Me and Look Lock. There will be a link to the full mix in the show notes. Today's episode of the Bhangra podcast, Sumi talks to one of our contributors, Romy Bassi, about comp organizing, VIBC, and more. Alright, let's get to it.
So why don't you start off introducing yourself and letting us know how you first got involved into Bhangra?
All right, sure. So I'm Romy. I've been involved in Bhangra in some sort of capacity since about 2006. So it's been like 11 years now.
A decade. Yeah, over a decade.
A decade in Bhangra. Yeah. Not necessarily like dancing the entire time. I've mainly been involved with competitions, volunteering, helping organizing. I have danced in the past as well. But yeah, it started off in 2006. I danced for a local team. Just local gigs, nothing really too competitive. And then in 2007, a friend of mine contacted me, and she asked if I wanted to be a team liaison for VIBC. She was volunteering for VIBC at the time, and that's how I got started.
Okay.
I was a team liaison for Duniya my first go around, and then it was a lot of fun. They actually won that year, so it was really cool to be like a team liaison for a winning team. My first time volunteering as well. And then
This is Duniya All Stars, right?
Yeah, for Duniya All Stars in Vancouver. This is when they were co-ed.
When they were co-ed. When did they stop competing? Because I remember they, they were like a big team back in the day. Like when I first started in Bhangra, they were on the west, like they mainly stayed on the west coast, I think. But like, I feel like I don't know what their stopping point was.
I can't remember. They were like the co-ed team for a few years as well. I can't remember when I think they might have competed at Elite the first year, and then and I think after that they might have stopped. They do compete. Well, they did compete after that as an all-girls team, but I don't think they've competed recently. They do have an academy here. I do, like in Vancouver. I'm currently in Vancouver right now. Just for the audience, I'm from Vancouver, but I live in BC. We'll get into that later on in the episode of why I'm in BC now. But yeah, they do have a few academies here for sure. So they're still continuing the legacy, but not really in competitions anymore.
Okay, and I'm not trying to get too far sidetracked with the Duniya All Stars thing. But didn't their team also have a performance where their music cut off and they finished the set to just
Yes.
And that happened before the SCB incident, right? It was like a couple years before that or something.
Yeah, they did. I can't remember what competition it was, but I do remember it was their all-girls team. And what happened was their music stopped, and I think they continued venues, but then they were given the chance to repeat the routine, and they decided to do so with the music.
Okay.
Yeah. I can't remember what the result was. I think they did actually place. But this was a good, I think, 4 years ago. 4 or 5 years ago it happened, so I can't remember, like, too many of the details of it.
Yeah. Okay, well, yeah, just a little side fact.
Yeah.
So I don't think it got as well publicized, because it wasn't
didn't.
competition, and but I guess people should know about it if it happened.
That's happened before. FCB thought the only team it's happened to.
So yeah, you can continue then. So you started off dancing. You liaisoned at VIBC and Duniya All Stars 1. And where'd you go from there?
Then, well, like with VIBC, even before 2006, like what got me into Bhangra was my two aunts. When I was a kid, my two aunts were actually on a Bhangra team in the early 90s on the SFU, the Simon Fraser University Girls Bhangra team. So there's one that's well known, the UBC Girls Bhangra team. It's actually an older one, where it's SFU Bhangra Girls, and this was in the early 90s. And then I remember going as a kid to these cultural shows, seeing their videos on like local TV, dancing everywhere in Vancouver. I believe they traveled as well. They went to California and they went to other places as well, and seeing their videos. And that's what really got me into Bhangra as a kid. I really wanted to dance. I really wanted to emulate their moves. I really any party I went to, anywhere I got a chance, I would go to the dance floor, be the first kid on there, and just try to copy their moves. And so that's why I really wanted to join a team. So when I had the chance in 2006 to join a local team, I took the first opportunity I got and ran with it.
So you've gotten to kind of see like competitive Bhangra from where really in the U.S. it was kind of was just sort of starting off. Then you've seen the full evolution of things.
Pretty much for the early 90s. I followed Bhangra competitions and stuff since 2004, 2005. Like when KJ, even before the KJ days, there was Florida with PHUL. This is 2005, and Boston Bhangra. There are some other teams as well. I can't name on top of my head right now, but even the early 2000s, I was following it as well. So it's been a long time.
We should definitely have you on another podcast, just kind of talking about that and how different things are.
It's been quite the evolution. All right, so I was 2 years. For 2 years, I was a team liaison. First year Duniya All Stars. Second year it was the DRP. Absolutely loved them. They were a blast to be a team liaison for. I had a lot of fun with them. And then after that, I was given the opportunity to become more of an organizer with VIBC. I became the registration coordinator. I became the liaison coordinator, pretty much, so I was in charge of all the liaisons. I was pretty much a performer. We had a committee called the Performer Services, and I pretty much became a lead for that committee. And I did everything that included registration, team liaison stuff, organizing everything for that, organizing transportation, a lot of the organization aspect of a competition I was involved with. And then after a few years, VIBC became a festival, just a festival and not a competition. And I became
one. When did we make that transition again?
2012 was the first year that we were just a festival. I believe.
Okay. Because that's when like UNC went up there, right?
Yeah. That's when UNC came to Vancouver, and what happened was with myself being involved, like becoming really close with UNC, is that we had a team liaison that was supposed to be UNC's team liaison. And what happened was she actually broke her ankle a few days before the festival started. So I didn't have time. This is when I was a team liaison coordinator as well, so I was in charge of other team liaisons. And I didn't have time to find a replacement. So I was like, I'll take over. I'll become a team liaison as well, while doing my other duties as well as a coordinator. So luckily, like, I believe things happen for a reason. I'm not saying that I was happy she broke her ankle, but I was like, I actually became really close friends with the UNC folks, and I still talk to this day. I'm really close with all of them, so I was really happy that they came up, and then I became their liaison as well.
For sure. And I think some of them went to your wedding, right?
Yeah.
With a fellow Bhangra member of our Bhangra community. But,
So I could talk about that as well. Going back to 2010, during like my VIBC time, I actually joined Jawani Bhangra. Jawani Bhangra was an all-girls Bhangra team from Vancouver, and I danced. I competed with them, and then in 2011 we competed at Bruin in LA, and that is where I met my husband for the first time. My husband, Jasmeet Singh Kapoor. A lot of people in the Bhangra community know him. A lot of the older generation of the Bhangra community.
You met him at Bruin 2011?
Yeah, 2011.
Oh, so that means I was, because he came and played Dole with us on FTV, and so and so I remember Jawani being there because I knew Bharti and stuff because she like helped us out a lot when KFTD went to Idols the year before. But dang, I didn't know that was when. That was what.
Yeah, that is the year. That's the year. I'll just say that he completely rejected me when I first met him. It didn't start off right. Well, I just wanted to be his friend because he knew everybody on the team except for me and a few other people. So I was like, I want to meet this famous. They call him JSK from BTS. So I was like, I want to meet this JSK. So I went up to him. To this day, I remember thinking in my head, be nice, have a smile on your face. I remember thinking he'll be your friend. Like, he'll like you. He'll be your friend. I go up to him, attempt to shake his hand, say, hi, I'm Romy. Nice to meet you. I've heard so much about you. And then nothing. He just said, hi. That's it. He just started talking to the rest of the STV guys, completely ignored the chastity. So, like, all right.
Maybe he was shy, maybe he was like, oh, wow, like, I'm speechless.
Oh, okay. No, it wasn't that. Okay. For the audience, I did, things worked out well. I did marry the guy. Bhangra does run in the family. Like, I married a fellow Bhangra dancer back in 2.5 years after that, in August of 2013, we got married. The reception, because we were so heavily involved in Bhangra, was a Bhangra competition without the competition. That was our theme. We actually gave up Bhangra shirts as our favors because we met at Bhangra. We gave up Bhangra shirts. We had an after party. We had pizza at the after party, just like how at a competition after you compete you get pizza. We did the same. We did the same thing. So
Was there any fights at the after party?
No, thankfully. Thankfully there were no after.
A Bhangra competition.
I know.
Missing a key element there.
That's true. That is true.
People who weren't invited showing up, did that happen?
Oh yeah, that happened. That happened.
Okay. But I guess you didn't expect that at any Punjabi wedding, so
that's true. You know. That's true. Yeah, we did have our groupies. We did have people who were not supposed to be there that did come. So just like a true after party, like a true Bhangra competition after party.
Yeah, and I remember seeing the performance video from it, which was like a collaboration among like 50 guys from like a bunch of different teams.
Yeah. So, as a lot of people who know Jasmeet danced on quite a bit of teams. Jasmeet danced on Guardians, First Class. He played Dole for a lot of other teams as well, like Gator Bhangra. He also played Chimta for JANIBOI Dynasty, like the live collegiate team from California from a few years ago. So he's been involved in a lot of teams. So at our reception, there's a surprise collaboration where about 40 to 50 Bhangra dancers got together and created a routine. It was mainly with First Class and Guardians, but at the end, everybody did the ending. If you haven't seen it, just YouTube it. YouTube Romy and Jasmeet. It'll be there on YouTube. Everyone should check it out. It is amazing. It was really great. And if you haven't, at the end, they do jumps, and it's a spectacle to see when over 40 people have 8 jumps all synced. They were all synced. It was amazing to see. It was all synced. Not one person was off. It was amazing to see.
So cool. And so, is Jasmeet still involved in Bhangra in any way?
No. Both of us are.
He's kind of MIA.
Both of us are pretty much retired. We don't dance anymore. Jasmeet doesn't play Dole for any teams anymore. We're just, life gets in the way, careers get in the way. I still manage to be involved, like especially with the podcast, even just like watching Bhangra videos, being involved a little bit on BTF. I still like to be in the know. Jasmine and I, we still do attend local competitions in BC. We used to travel, like we went to Philly and Berg, Philly and Berg. We even went to Bruin in 2014 just to cheer on First Class and support them. But otherwise, we're like we like to say that we're retired now. Dancing life. Yeah.
But with this podcast, which people, since this is kind of your intro podcast to, our series going forward, to everyone out there, Romy's going to be someone that's going to be consistently on here and tackling some topics that she's very interested in and very knowledgeable about as well. So why don't you give us a little inside scoop on the type of stuff you're hoping to...
Sure. So the type of episodes that I will be recording and sharing with you all are more competition related. So we're going to go through the organizational aspects of competitions and talking to competition organizers and going through what works and what doesn't work, and going through how they go about organizing their competition, why they wanted to start a competition, how do they create their budgets, how do they get their money in sponsorships. Just like the episode that we released today, something similar to that. And as well, I'm also going to start doing competition postmortems. So what that is after competition is completed, done, placings are announced, like a few days after that, we're going to sit down with the organizers of those competitions and talk to a few of the dancers who competed at that competition and go do like a roundtable discussion of like what actually worked, the pros and cons, like how on BTF you have reviews and competitions ask for reviews. We're going to do more of a podcast version, and I like to call them the competition postmortems. And I think that'll be really informative, and then just see like discussion based, like what worked with the competition, what didn't work. And we're also myself and Angela, another contributor for the podcast, we're going to talk about females in Bhangra. We're going to talk about the main, like a lot of prominent females who dance in Bhangra, who are really well known. Talk about their experiences, talk about their experiences in Bhangra, and those are the type of episodes that I'll be working on.
Yeah, so it sounds like, by the end of it, with each episode, you're going to be creating a pretty solid resource for, people who are either currently running competitions or looking to start a new competition, which we could always use more competitions in the circuit.
Yeah. Definitely. Because it's a lot. It's a organizing competition. And especially with my experience with VIBC. VIBC started off as just a one-day competition, and now look where it's at. It's like one of the biggest festivals in North America, biggest Bhangra festival in North America. It's 2.5 weeks long. They have over 20 different events, and it didn't start that way. It started just with a small local competition. So we could definitely give our expertise and help out the other competitions out there, organizations out there that want to get to that level. Because I know I talked to quite a few organizers that do want to get to that level where they can do all these big events and throw these big festivals along with the competition itself.
Yeah, definitely. And seeing more huge events, more events, kind of pop up, get bigger, show off, even different sides of Punjabi culture besides Bhangra, just so, more public can get involved and more people can learn about it, and will be great, so definitely looking forward.
It'll also help, I know there's complaints out there, Bhangra's not mainstream enough, and such as Bollywood. So it's for these competitions and organizations, this will help make Bhangra more mainstream as well. These festivals definitely help. VIBC is one of the biggest festivals in Vancouver. It's really well known, and then everybody knows this festival happens every June here, and it draws out thousands of audience members to the main festival event itself. And if you look at the audience, you'll see it's mixed. It's a mixed crowd. It's not all Indians that are there. It's definitely a mixed crowd with Caucasians, Asians, and Indians there who knew about the festival and are out there, and it's making Bhangra more mainstream, especially here in Vancouver.
Mm-hmm. Now, I guess we could have a whole side discussion about this, but just thought I'd ask, do you think that the fact that, Punjabi culture is a lot bigger in Vancouver kind of gives VIBC a little bit of an advantage in that aspect compared to, say another, pretty Punjabi-filled area, kind of like the Nova, DC metro area, or maybe up in New York? Do you think places like that have the ability to kind of scale and reach this level?
They definitely, in Virginia and New York, they definitely have the ability to get it to the VIBC level. I definitely see it happening with with good marketing techniques and the publicity. They'll definitely get it there. Surrey and Vancouver are not the only Indian-centric cities out there in North America. It can happen in Toronto too, but it can also happen it can also happen not so Indo-centric cities as well. Like it can happen down in Florida. It can happen in Seattle. It can happen in
California.
Portland. In California, in LA. It could definitely happen in LA. It depends on competitions and organizations need really great marketing techniques. That's what I see an issue with as well. The marketing can get better. It can definitely get better. You have to branch out to your local communities and just branch out, not just Facebook posts or Twitter posts or putting posters out on your local universities and stuff. You really need to get out there. You really need to spread the word in different ways and not just what you're used to. Not just going to your local Indian organization at your university. It's more to that.
So yeah, I think we can sign off there. And last thing, Romy, if anyone wants to reach out to you directly, they want to talk to you more about those specific topics, or just hit you up, add you on Facebook, whatever. What are the best ways to reach you?
Oh, sure. Add me on Facebook. Romy Bassi at Facebook. I'm also on Instagram. You can add me at RomeSauce. ROMESAUCE, I think it is. Yeah. On Instagram, I'm always online.
Sweet. And we'll link to your social media accounts and stuff in the show notes as well.
Yeah.
Once we figure out how to do that. So, all right. Well, we'll sign off there.
Hey, thanks so much for listening to another episode of the Bhangra podcast. Do you have any ideas for what we should talk about? If so, email us at bhangrateamspodcast@gmail.com or hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter at the Bhangra Pod. If you like this podcast, subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you listen to podcasts so that you get the podcast immediately downloaded as soon as it hits the feed. And if you really want to help us out, please leave a review on iTunes and let us know how we do it.